Millie Bobby Brown was spotted carrying all these bags and her baby while walking with her husband, and the internet is confused. Why is she holding everything? People are asking why he isn't helping at that moment. What do you think?
Apparently, everyone hates Millie Bobby Brown's husband. Millie Bobby Brown spoke out on Kylie Kelsey's podcast about it, and it is clear that she totally doesn't get it. And by the way, this is my opinion as someone who's also worked with celebrities for the past 20 years. So Millie was on Kylie Kelsey's podcast responding to all the photos where she's seen schlepping all of the bags, carrying the car seat, holding the baby, pushing the stroller, while Jake is just like meandering nearby.
Y'all, Millie Bobby Brown has been facing a wave of internet criticism after people questioned her husband, Jake Bongiovi. It all started when Millie was seen carrying her baby, bags, and stroller by herself with no obvious help from Jake. That instantly sparked online backlash, with people calling it bad husband behavior and assuming the worst. But Millie has now responded and defended Jake, saying the situation online doesn't reflect their real relationship and pushing back against the criticism. Still, the internet remains divided, with some supporting her and others not fully convinced. And on top of all that, Millie has also opened up about her journey into motherhood, including adopting her baby and sharing more about her life as a young mom. Keep watching because this situation is way more layered than it first looked. And trust me, it's got people seriously divided. Speaking on Kyle Kelsey's Not Gonna Lie podcast, Millie pushed back against the narrative and questioned why people assume women aren't capable of handling their own things. She explained that in the situation people were reacting to, she was simply carrying her own luggage, baby items, and getting on with her day. But it quickly turned into strangers online, reading too much into a very normal moment.
Hi, I'm Millie Bobby Brown, and I'm not gonna lie, when did women become incapable of holding their own bags, car seats, and stuff? This stems from me holding all of my suitcases and bags and my kids, and people are like, your husband doesn't hold a single thing. And I'm like, because I'm 3 miles ahead. I have been planning this all night.
She pointed out the double standard in how independence is viewed, noting that women are often encouraged to be strong and self-sufficient, but then criticized when they actually act that way. In her view, carrying her own things doesn't automatically mean her husband isn't involved or supportive. It just reflects how she chooses to move in everyday life. Millie also highlighted how quickly assumptions spread online, especially when short clips go viral without context. What people saw as Jake not helping, she suggested, was simply a moment taken out of a much bigger and more ordinary reality.
I have been planning this all night. We're all about empowering girls and like, you got it, you don't need a man. But then when I'm like, okay, I can carry my own things, people are like, oh, where's your husband? And I'm like, I can also do it on my own. Nobody knows my husband. My husband is the most polite, sweet, like, will do anything for me, but he also knows I'm capable.
Millie Bobby Brown also made it clear that she's not broken, pushing back against the way people have been analyzing every small detail of her life and relationship with Jake Bongiovi.
My husband, thank you. I enjoy the idea of chivalry. I don't want it to be dead. I want there to be a degree of politeness and catering to your woman and whatever. But at the same time, don't act like I'm broken or dainty. I am not.
The criticism around Jake continued online, with users repeatedly pointing out moments where he appeared empty-handed while Millie was seen pushing the stroller and carrying bags. Some of these posts went viral, especially older photos from New York City where fans claimed they had never seen him carry anything, sparking more debate about their dynamic as a couple. Other social media users joined in as well, resurfacing multiple instances where Millie seemed to be handling most of the physical load, which only added fuel to the ongoing discussion about whether the internet was right or simply overanalyzing their everyday life. One user said, "You can really see who grew up rich and who didn't. That man never had to lift a finger in his life while Millie has been working hard since she was like 10. Basically pointing fingers at how different people interpret Jake's behavior based on their assumptions about his background and lifestyle. Another user had a very different reaction, saying, "As if it wasn't bad enough already, she's the one who pursued him, and he didn't even show any interest at the very beginning, a nightmare," while reacting to an old interview where Millie talked about how she and Jake first met.
My name's Millie, and he was like, "Hi, I'm Jake," and I was like, and the first thing I said, so like gross, I was like, "Are you single?" And he was like, "Yes," and I was like, "Okay," and then I was like, "Where are you?" And he was like, "I'm at college," and he was at college at the time, and I was like, "Okay." I was like, well, I'm single too. And he was like, great. Like, we were friends for a while. Like, we text back and forth and called, and we watched like shows on Zoom and stuff like together. But he did not flirt with me. Like, one, no clue. And I said to my mum, you're gonna have to sit in on a conversation I have with him and tell me, are you getting that, because I don't know if he's flirting with me or not. And she sat in on the conversation and she said, he isn't flirting with you. Like, he isn't. Like, he doesn't show any signs of interest.
And as the clip kept circulating, more users jumped in with even stronger reactions, and not everyone was convinced by how the story sounded. One person said, you would have to waterboard this information out of me, basically shocked at the idea of being the one to actively pursue someone who didn't seem that interested at first. Another user added, baby, that's not a good thing if he doesn't show interest in you, pointing out their concern and questioning whether that dynamic was actually something to celebrate or laugh about. The criticism picked up again when Millie Bobby Brown posted an Instagram photo dump that unintentionally fueled the same narrative people were already debating online. In the post, one image showed Millie looking visibly tired while pushing a stroller, while another showed Jake Bon Jovi sitting back comfortably in a chair. And even though it was just a casual set of everyday moments, the internet quickly started connecting its own dots again. On X, reactions came in fast. One viral post joked, she's not helping the man with those allegations, I'm crying, turning the situation into a meme. Another user took a harsher tone, writing, she married a weak-ass boy, not a man, SMH, showing just how divided and intense the commentary around the couple had become. And as the conversation kept spiraling online, Millie Bobby Brown also used her appearance on the Not Gonna Lie to zoom out and address the backlash she's been getting more broadly, especially around becoming a mother at 21. She called out what she described as vicious and angry comments from some women online, saying the judgment around her personal choices has been unnecessarily harsh.
A lot of people have a lot to say about, oh, you got married too young, you had a baby too young, you know, you did this, you did that, why are you wearing that, why do you look like that? I was always like, oh my god, these are all men, like, saying all of these horrible things. And then one day I figured out, like, actually quite a few of them were women. Yes. And I was like, this is vicious. Like, you are vicious, and I don't have time for angry women that just need to feel like they need to bring you down, especially when it comes to motherhood. I've never experienced anything like this. It's like, oh, you know, I could always deal with like the, oh my god, you showed your nipples, like, what a bitch, like, and I'm like, whatever, like, I don't care about that. But when you're like, you didn't put a hat on your baby, and it was and I'm like, try putting a hat on my baby. Come on, I dare you. Put a beanie on her. Put a beanie on her. She's literally like, ba-bum.
She made it clear that while people online were questioning her life choices, she's actually been enjoying this new phase of life with her husband, Jake Bon Jovi, in a very positive way. She explained that motherhood has completely changed her perspective, describing it as a shift from black and white to color, emphasizing how everything in her life now feels fuller and more meaningful. According to her, despite the challenges, she feels happy and fulfilled, and she and Jake often talk about how complete their life feels together in this new chapter.
I'm having the most amazing time. It's literally, my husband and I say all the time, but it's like going from black and white to color. Like, it's just, everything feels complete and perfect in every way. And don't get me wrong, it's full of, you know, moments of like, oh my, what do you do in this situation, or, you know, but it's the most amazing thing ever. And I think it's a huge responsibility, and raising a daughter specifically. I know people were like, what about raising a son? It's like, no, I of course, every child is a responsibility. However, I do think raising a daughter, coming from my experience of being.
At the same time, she was honest about the reality of parenting, admitting that it isn't always easy and comes with moments of uncertainty where she is still learning and figuring things out as she goes. Millie also reflected on the responsibility of raising a daughter, especially considering her own experience growing up in the public eye. Having been criticized from a young age, she said she takes parenting very seriously, particularly when it comes to raising a confident young girl who feels proud of who she is.
Raising a daughter specifically, I know people were like, what about raising a son? It's like, no, I of course, every child is a responsibility. However, I do think raising a daughter, coming from my experience of being in having a really public childhood and getting criticized as a girl and as a woman so frequently, I just take it very seriously to raise a girl that can be proud of who they are and be confident and embrace it. Just coming from my experience specifically, I think it was like really kind of my goal to just provide a world where she feels really safe and loved and nurtured and embraced. And that's what my parents did to me. So I think that's...
Overall, her message feels less like she's trying to defend every little detail and more like she's just explaining where she's at emotionally right now. And through all the noise online, Millie Bobby Brown seems pretty firm on her choices and confident in the life she's building with Jake Bon Jovi. But what do you think about the situation? Do you see Millie doing everything on her own as a form of modern independence and feminism, where she's simply choosing to handle her life her way? Or do you think the internet has a point in questioning the dynamic and reading it differently? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Check out my previous videos to stay updated on the latest and hottest teas. See y'all later!